Hello guys, welcome to another video. This is all about my lenses. So I just want to tell you about what I've got here and hopefully it'll inspire someone to decide what lens you want to go for. So let's start off with the kit lens. The kit lens is this one here, which is the 18 to 55mm EFS lens. It's got a filter thread of 58mm, aperture of 3.5 to 5.6 IS STM. It's pretty decent. It's all plastic. Don't let anyone tell you you can't get good pictures with a kit lens, but it's not as good as an L lens, unfortunately. But it's a good buy, and don't let anyone tell you you can't use it for professional work, because you can. Then I went for the Sigma DC 17 to 50 2.8 EX HSM lens, 77mm filter thread at the front. This cost me about 250 quid. It does have a metal mount. It's only for crop sensor cameras. You can use it on a full frame camera if you want to, but you see a big netting black circle around, so it's not really usable. But it's sharp in the centre, but not too great in the corners. But all in all, good lens. It just rattles a bit when you shake it like that. Then I got the 10 to 18 wide angle EFS lens. 67mm filter thread. Aperture is f4.5 to 5.6 IS. This is STM, so good for vlogging. STM means basically you can focus really quietly on your lens, and you won't hear any noise. It's all plastic. You'll pick this up. You know, it's got IS obviously for approximately £300. And it's a good buy for that sort of lens. For property photography, landscape photography, it's ideal. Obviously it's not a fast aperture lens, but at £300 is quite cheap. So then I got myself the Canon 70 to 200. This is the Mark II. It's pretty good, nice and sharp. 4 stops at image stabilization. It's a tank, you can drop it and it'll still keep going. It's all weather sealed. I did have the Mark I at one point and sold that. I also had the 300 f4 as well, which was really good with the Mark I extender that I had at the time. It gave you 420mm at f5.6 with 2-stop image stabilization. But I decided to sell the 300 f4 and the old 70 to 200 Mark I, so I could put it into buying this. So this cost me £1,400, grey import. The UK version is £1,600. But really good lens. Any wildlife photographer, wedding photographer, portrait photographer will be really happy with this. Soon after that I bought the 100 to 400 Mark II lens. It was a really sharp lens and I liked it. The only problem was focus was quite slow, so that's why I got rid of it. It's possible on the newer cameras that have come out, like the 7D Mark II and the 1DX, focus would have been a lot quicker than my camera. My camera was a 7D, the original Mark I version, but I just couldn't seem to get a quick focus out of that particular lens, so basically I sent it back and got a refund. So then I upgraded to this, which is a Sigma Contemporary 150 to 600. Cost me approximately £740. It's got a max aperture of 6.3. I compared this with the Tamron, the Mark I version of the 150 to 600, as well as the Sport version of this. I found the Sport and the Contemporary very similar in image quality. Even Sigma confirmed that by email. So I would recommend either this or the Sport. The only difference really with the Sport is it's bigger, heavier and completely weather sealed all the way through. This has a little bit of weather sealing on the back, but it's a good lens for wildlife photography. If you've got good light, I recommend you take this out. However, if the light is quite poor, you probably need a 2.8 or f4 lens. So after that, I decided to buy this little small beauty lens, which is the 55 to 250 EFS lens, 58mm filter thread, and that's f4 to 5.6 IS STM. So it's silent in video. It's equivalent to 400mm in full frame terms. It's got IS. It's all plastic. It's got a plastic mount. But it's pretty decent for the money. You can pick that up for £100, believe it or not, on eBay, and I think you won't be disappointed because I found the image quality quite good with this. Here we have the Nifty 50, the 50mm 1.8 lens. This is the STM version, so it is quiet and silent in autofocus. It's got a metal mount, which is an EF lens, so basically you can fit this on crop sensor or full frame with no problems. It's got a 49mm filter thread. It's obviously, like I said, f1.8, so in poor lighting conditions, such as in a dark church during a wedding, you might want to use this because it lets a lot of light in. And for £100, I think it's a bargain. Then I decided to buy these. This is the Canon EF 2X Mark III extender, and this is the 1.4X extender Mark III as well. I did buy the Mark I extender at one point, and I sold those and upgraded to these. Now they're about £500 a piece, but they communicate with the Mark II 70-200 really well. Improved the electronics, and the optics has improved slightly. And looking at some information and pictures I was looking at, I can tell you that the 70-200 with the Mark III extender Mark II 2X is equivalent to the 100-400 Mark II lens. So I couldn't really tell much of a difference, you know, opposed to using both lenses, except I think autofocus was slightly quicker on the 100-400 Mark II versus using the 2X extender on the 70-200. So it's up to you which you prefer. I just wanted these, you know, so I could use them on different lenses. So it's always a bonus. Buy an extender, you can always attach it onto other lenses, not just the one lens you plan to use it on. So then I decided I needed some sort of full frame lens for my 5D Mark II that I've got. So I decided to focus on this, which is the 24-70 f4 L lens. IS, 4 stops. It has macro on there, so it becomes an 80mm macro lens that gives you 70% life size. So, and it's fully weather sealed as well. So if you put this onto a 5D Mark II, for example, and you put an extension tube on there, you'll be able to get greater than life size with this lens. It's pretty sharp. It's not that loud. There is a slight clicking noise I can hear when I do autofocus in video, but it's not so noticeable it would become a major issue if you're using some sort of shotgun mic or something like that. And I found the images that come out of this really sharp. So, you know, it's a good lens and it's fantastic build quality. It's what you'd expect from an L lens, and it's got a nice hood on there as well. And it's obviously got metal mount as you'd expect from an L lens, and completely weather sealed. Great lens. I picked that up for £500, by the way, once I got a £165 rebate from Canon, because it was originally £700. So I picked up this little lens. Well, it's not really little, is it? It's quite a heavy thing. You might think, what is it? Well, it's a 28-70 2.8 Tokina lens. It's all metal. You could bash someone with that and probably knock them out. It's got a front filter thread of 77mm, just like the Canon L lens that I've just showed you. In terms of image quality, it's not quite as sharp as the Canon, and you do lose a bit of contrast as well, I noticed. But I picked this up from eBay for approximately £200, which I think is a steal. Let me know if you think that was a great bargain. I couldn't find any reviews on this lens on eBay or even on the internet for that matter, really. So at some point I'm going to do a review on this. It's got no image stabilization, it's just autofocus and manual focus. And it's got the standard Tokina switch there if you want to change it to manual and autofocus just by pushing it up and down, which is quite unique. It does have the on and off switch there for manual and autofocus, but it also has the push and pull technique to go into manual and autofocus. So it's quite an interesting design that. I've never seen that before, but it is something you might want to consider if you come across it. Check out my review at some point. I'll probably do that in about a month's time, and then hopefully you guys might like that video or not. So for my last purchase, as I'm a wildlife photographer, and some of you guys may know that already, I go out and take pictures of birding and squirrels and wildlife and that sort of thing. The dream of any wildlife photographer is to try and own a 500mm prime f4 lens. Unfortunately, they're very expensive. The Mark 1 Canon one will probably set you back £6,000. The Mark II version of that will set you back approximately £12,000. It's a lot of money to shell out on a lens, isn't it? So one day I was looking on eBay and I saw this up for sale in America. Now this is the Sigma 500mm f4.5 APO EXDG HSM lens. Now this is a beast of a lens. This weighs the same as the Sport 150 to 600 lens actually weighs. It weighs 3 kilograms. It has a drop-in filter holder there that holds a 46mm filter. This lens is absolutely a solid piece of chunk of metal. I'm not lying to you on that. Every part of it is solid metal. There's very little plastics in this at all. When I originally got this, the actual mount needed repairing because some of the gold contacts were worn out. So after importing it, which cost me approximately $1,000 to actually buy it, obviously, and then to import it was about £300, and then to get it repaired it was £250. Fortunately, the seller agreed to pay for the repair, so I was quite lucky there. But this is a 500mm f4.5 lens, and what that means is, instead of say the Sigma one that I've got here, which is an f6.3, is it allows you to let more light into the lens, which means you can have a higher shutter speed and get that chance of freezing action. The only downside to having an older lens like this is there's no image stabilization, or as Sigma tends to call it, optical stabilizer. So this is a lens I'm looking forward to trying out, and when I did actually test the images alongside the Sigma 150 to 600, they were more or less identical in terms of image quality. You couldn't tell the difference. However, this will have the benefit in low light situations. I can open up that aperture to f4.5 and get some fantastic images where the Sigma might struggle, where the 150 to 600 might struggle. So that's basically all my lenses I've gone through with you guys. It does take a long time to build up a collection like this, and you might think, oh, you don't need all those lenses. Each lens is useful for different things, you know. Obviously you've got the 70 to 200, it's 2.8 aperture, which means it lets almost twice as much light as that big Sigma 500 prime. However, it's not quite as long, being 200mm. And then you might have this new acquisition that I got, this Tokina. Obviously it lets in more light than say the Canon, which is f4, and this is 2.8, so it lets twice as much light in than the Canon does. But then the Canon has image stabilization, so it's a toss-up in which is better, you know. So everything is subjective. Choose the lens that it works for you, and do your research. I can't stress that. I see it so many times where people buy lots of lenses, or they buy the wrong lens for them. They take it back to the shop realising it's not the lens for them, or it's the wrong one, or it's not as good as they thought. Do your research, guys. Make sure you choose the lens that's right for you. And I hope this video was insightful. Thank you.